Meet the OnePlus 6, the device the company is dubbing as the speed you need, and also the boldest evolution that we've seen from the company in recent years. It's arriving earlier than expected to an already crowded market, and this time with a slight bump in the price tag. I'm Jaime Rivera with Pocketnow, and to learn if it's worth the price change and all the hype, join us for our full review. I've always found the never settle slogan to be peculiar. It's a bold call to consumers, and the aggressive pricing on every model pretty much meant you shouldn't settle to pay more for what you get. Now, the reason why I use the word peculiar is that in previous models there was always something missing. But notice, I said in previous models. The OnePlus 6 is a significant departure from the past. We have Corning Gorilla Glass 5 in the front and the back, adding a tad more weight and quality to the feel, in addition to a glossy finish to the Horizon line if you go for the mirror black variant that we have here. Little things like the mute slider on the side continue to be reasons why I love to come back to a OnePlus device. I also praise the vertical approach to the new dual cameras in the fingerprint scanner, meaning wobbling on a table will at least be uniform this time. And yes, I also compliment the company's cases because they're very affordable, and they feel like if they fit the phone as part of the hardware. The quality extends to the internals. This is literally the most powerful smartphone you can buy today thanks to the Qualcomm Snapdragon 845, options for 6 or 8 gigs of RAM, 64, 128, or 256 gigs of non-expandable storage, a 3300 mAh battery, dual SIM capabilities, both supporting LTE, and this time gigabit LTE were available. No, there is no wireless charging, but once you try dash charging, trust me, you won't really care. And even if there is no IP rating, the company does confirm that it is splash-proof. Now, the elephant in the room is the notch on the top of the display, but trust me, I'd prefer this approach any day over the bezels of the past. At 6.28 inches diagonal and 19:9 aspect ratio, this Full HD optic AMOLED screen is actually one of my favorites, and it's mainly because of the 84% screen-to-body ratio. About the only thing that I wish that were here are dual firing speakers to complement content consumption. And beautiful. Really, where the S9 wins is at this whole display. But at least we get a headphone jack, and the audio performance on this phone is really good. And for those of you asking why this phone is being dubbed the speed you need, let's talk about OxygenOS 5.1.2. It continues to be my favorite approach to Android given its flexibility and taste in design. If anything, I'd even call this more stock than what we get on the current Google Pixel 2. There's a new GP optimization feature that detects layers that are not important to the user experience in whatever app you launch, and it just simply doesn't load them. The result is precious resources being saved that translate into a smooth user experience that I still find is class-leading. I love cool features like reading mode making a return for those of us that want black and white reading to avoid eye strain. This also continues to be one of the most useful ambient displays in my opinion. The company is also enhancing what it now dubs as game mode to help these launch faster, optimize network performance, and save battery. And trust me, in my experience, gaming on this phone is definitely great. Flexibility comes in the form of either gestures or buttons for the user interface, out of which I actually recommend the latter. Yes, I find the gestures very natural and practical to navigate, and I love having all this screen available to me. The problem is when you try launching the Google Assistant and there's no gesture for it, you actually have to call on it. But then again, as I said at the beginning, buttons continue to be as flexible as they were in the past, with extra mapping options for commands if you double tap or press and hold. I've been using the OnePlus 6 for nearly 2 weeks between New York City and London. Phone calls are very crisp and the experience extends to the speakers, and during my experience testing it on T-Mobile, I found it to be amazing at clinging to Wi-Fi and data. Battery life has been good. I wouldn't call it better than competing devices, but definitely competitive enough, even while sporting a smaller power pack than most of the devices it stands up against. I'm not going to deny that I also enjoy features like Face to Unlock, which, since the 5T continues to be blazing fast, And I also love conveniences like the new Bullet wireless headphones, which the phone quickly detects and that provide great audio at an amazing value. But fine, let's switch to the most important topic of this phone, the camera. This has always been the company's Achilles heel, at least until now. We have a new Sony IMX519 sensor in the primary shooter at 16 megapixels, f1.7 aperture, 1.22 microns, and both EIS and OIS. The secondary 20 megapixel camera is at f1.7 aperture and single microns. Now the interesting mix here is that the second one is really just to assist with portrait mode. The resulting photos are just shocking. I seriously think the company finally figured it out. And it could be thanks to their own enhanced HDR solution. I mean, sure, you know that during the day this phone is going to perform well, pretty much like most other flagships, with great color saturation and detail. The thing is, night photography has seriously improved. I notice important things like zero lens flare, minimal light spill, and just overall a well-composed night shot, which was a serious problem with the 5T. Even in cases like moving subjects, the camera is fast to take the shot and performs admirably. And then portrait photos are also really natural. Less of that fake background blurring that we see from competing devices, and no gimmicks like fake lighting effects that never really work. Selfie portraits are still not available at the time of this review, but they will arrive with a software update soon, and overall selfie performance was good as well, but depending on the situation, this is probably my only complaint with the camera is quite noisy and low light if you don't use the screen flash. And as for video recording, my impressions are that it is awesome, particularly in stabilization. While you're filming, you won't really see the work going on in the background, but the resulting video is very stable through both EIS and OIS. And even if I'm not a fan of the crop for selfie video, the result is also very stable. And believe it or not, I will praise the slow-mo video, where the company doesn't just let you record seconds at a time, but a full minute at 480 frames per second at 720p or 240 frames per second at 1080p. To conclude, I honestly asked myself the question, could it really be?
Wow. He is the one.
Could it be that this is the one? Finally, the OnePlus device that truly has every single element that embodies the slogan, never settle. From where I stand, I honestly think it is. You have great build quality, great specifications, great software, good battery life, and finally, a great camera. These are seriously all the things that I personally look for in a smartphone for it to become my daily driver. Add the fact that this phone pretty much retails at almost half the price of certain flagships, and I don't really need to say more. The OnePlus 6 may finally cross the $500 price mark, but I'd pay that extra nudge any day for a phone that finally addresses my needs. This is definitely a phone that I recommend you consider for 2018. What about you? Let us know what you think about the OnePlus 6 in the comments down below, and while you're at it, make sure you follow us on social media and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. You can follow me on Twitter, Jaime_Rivera, or on Instagram at Jaime Rivera. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. I'm Jaime Rivera. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.